When it comes to summer learning and recreation programs, YMCA of Greater Boston is trying to make sure that no young person's left out. To tell us about the free summer memberships for young people ages 13 through 19 is the Y's CEO and President, James Morton. Thank you much for being with us, James.
It's a pleasure to be with you, Chris. Thank you.
The free memberships in the summer, they're not exactly new, but I guess there's more going on around this. So what exactly is happening?
So we've been providing free memberships to teenagers for a number of years now, but never at the level that of need that we see today. So for example, last summer we provided more than 12,000 memberships to teenagers. This summer our goal, more than 15,000 I should say. This summer our goal is 18,000. Our goal is to provide young people with places to go that are safe, where they can be enriched and inspired, and they get a family-style meal every night where they break bread with other kids from their respective neighborhoods, and we keep our branches open later at night and on weekends, and we fill that time with activities that young people tell us they want.
Well, there's more to this than just letting the young people use the pool and the basketball court. I mean, you got to have a strategy because you get more young people coming in. So what is the strategy around that?
So part of our strategy is make sure that the young people who are coming to us are encountered by a caring adult, either a staff person, a volunteer, a coach, or even a police officer. And the whole idea of that is to create these positive relationships between young people and adults. And maybe have those young people walk away saying, that person sees more in me than I see in myself. Maybe they're right, and maybe I should respond in a positive way. And so the whole idea is to build these positive relationships between caring adults and young people.
Now, one way to express the value of that is to say, what would happen if that young person were not at the Y? They're out of school in the summer. Yeah. Maybe mom and dad are working. So, I mean, what's that like?
Well, what's that old adage? Idle hands are the playground of the devil. That's what we'd be concerned about. We'd be concerned that young people would be milling about aimlessly without structured activity, without knowing that there's a place for them to go where they can find positive things and enriching things to do. So our goal is to fill that gap with activity. When school's out, a lot of the lives of young people, in particular teenagers, are unstructured, and our goal is to fill that time with some structure and stability.
And of course, at that age, they want to be with other teenagers. That's an advantage, isn't it? That's a draw.
Of course. And we think it's a great thing that they want to be with with other young people like themselves. And what we do is we engage them in focus groups and ask them what they would like to do with their time while they're with us. And a lot of that is taking advantage of the same activities and things that we as adults take for granted. They want to go to the movies, they want to go to the concerts, they want to go to the beaches, and all the other natural beauties that exist in Greater Boston. And we get a chance to introduce them to those things.
Now, you mentioned the Boston Police, and one thing they have been doing is they've been sort of looking for young people at risk, not bad young people, but people who could go the wrong way, and you get them into the Y. What's been going on with that?
Well, that's a 20-year strategy that the YMCA Greater Boston and the Boston Police Department have had. Our goal is the police officers will encounter young people who've experienced traumatic situations, and they identify the kids from the various different neighborhoods of Greater Boston. And we make sure that those kids get a chance to go to camp, either our day camps or our overnight camps. And this last summer, there were 400 young people who were able to take advantage of that opportunity because of the generosity of our community. And we think that's a great relationship, a great strategy for building positive community police relations where the police officers and our young people get to know each other firsthand.
This has been News, and we're talking with James Morton from the YMCA of Greater Boston. James, there's also a learning component at the Y, and I guess that has been strengthened in recent years too, hasn't it?
Well, yes. Well, with all the news about the summer slide, where kids who are not stimulated in the summer, they lose math and reading skills, and they can lose a month and a half to 2.5 months during the summer. So our goal is to fill that time with intensive STEM and reading and math opportunities. And we're finding that the kids that we have in our structured programs to address summer learning loss are actually gaining a month to a month and a half of skills in math and reading during the summer as opposed to losing it. And so if we are concerned about the achievement gap, then let's fill that achievement gap with opportunities for kids to learn during the summer, and that's exactly what we think we're doing in our day camps.
You're making this investment in summer services for young people, and there might be partners getting on to this as well. Is that because they've seen some sign that this is working? Any numbers around that, maybe?
Thank you for that question. And yes, we don't do any of this work that we do in Greater Boston alone. Almost everything that we do is done in partnership with other community-based organizations. And Boston After School and Beyond, they've documented the improvement that kids see as a result of our intensive summer loss prevention strategies. And if we are going to address, as I said earlier, the achievement gap, what better time to address it than during the summer when some of our children who have less opportunities for stimulation get those opportunities by participating in programs that we offer and other Boston-based community organizations offer to young people.
Well, I know you get some air conditioning there, and there's one thing that maybe in some communities people take for granted, but you offer a safe haven. So for people who don't take that for granted, why is it so important?
Well, I think all of us and all young people need safe places to go. These are tumultuous and uncertain times for even us as adults. And so if it's that way for us, imagine how it is for young people who have less control over their own existences. And so we believe that part of our responsibility is to provide those safe places for young people to go and provide them with opportunities to interact with each other and in positive ways, maybe to change the narrative that gets told about our young people. Our young people in our communities throughout Greater Boston are incredible, and they've got lots of assets and lots of things to provide and contribute to our community. And what we're trying to do is make sure that each and every one of them reaches their fullest potential by keeping them safe, out of harm's way, and while at the same time enrich them and make them feel good about themselves and in hopes that they'll feel good about others.
Now, for a long time we've associated the Y with summer day camp, but you've got things going on at night for teens too, right?
Oh yeah, and most of the free memberships, that activity takes place during the evenings and on weekends, where we keep our branches open later at night and on weekends as well. We've continued the tradition of making sure that young people, as many as we possibly can go to camp every summer. But in addition to that, this is an added strategy for those teenagers who are not going to go to camp but need some place to go because not all of them can find summer employment. And that's another thing that we're doing this summer is employing a lot of young people.
Yeah, interesting. You've got people at the upper age range here, up to 19.
Yes.
Why is that?
Well, because there are still some 19-year-olds who are still trying to complete their high school careers, and so as long as they're still in high school, they're still eligible for this program. 13 and 19-year-olds is the age group we're attempting to serve.
Now, do they have roles almost like maybe either supervising younger people in these programs too? Maybe you get some experience in that way.
Well, part of our strategy is to use as many young people as we can as counselors. You remember what it was like to work when you were 13 and 14 years old and gaining those important job skills. Our goal is to make sure that we provide those same opportunities to as many young people as we can. And about 700 to 750 young people will work for us this summer. And of that group, 85% of those, it'll be their first jobs. And so it's an enormous responsibility.
It's an important step. And one other thing that gets people in the door, you got some food for them too, right?
Always, always. One of the things that we're proudest of, Chris, is that last year we served 568,000 meals and snacks to Boston children. And 200 of those meals were served during the summer, last summer. This summer, our goal is 300,000 meals, and we've increased our locations for serving those meals from 54 to 67. So we're serious about making sure that when the school doors close and kids lose breakfast and lunch, that we're filling that void with meals of our own.
Now, I know you have a number of branches in the city of Boston, and if people go to your website, they can find out where those are. So if people want to maybe take advantage of this offer, what's the best way to do that?
I would encourage them to go on our website at www.ymcaboston.org.
Thank you very much for being with us.
It's a pleasure, Chris. Thank you.
James Morton from the Greater Boston YMCA.